How does a team go from being the greatest in the world to becoming one of the biggest embarrassments in football history? How does a country that produced legends like Zidane, Henry, Griezmann, and Mbappe keep falling victim to the exact same nightmare? Because France has a bizarre World Cup pattern. Win the World Cup, and disaster follows. In 1998, they conquered the world. 4 years later, they were eliminated without scoring a single goal. In 2018, they conquered the world again. 4 years later, they suffered one of the most heartbreaking defeats in football history. Coincidence? Or is France truly cursed after lifting football's biggest trophy? Today, we're uncovering the strange cycle that has haunted Les Bleus for over 25 years, and why 2026 could decide whether this curse is real. This is the curse of France. Before 1998, France wasn't a football superpower. Yes, they had legendary players. Yes, they had won Euro 1984, but they were still inconsistent. Things became even worse in the 1990s. France failed to qualify for the 1994 World Cup after suffering two shocking defeats at home against Israel and Bulgaria. It was one of the darkest moments in their history, but out of that humiliation, a new generation was born, led by Zinedine Zidane, Didier Deschamps, Thierry Henry, Patrick Vieira, and Lilian Thuram. France entered the 1998 World Cup as hosts. The pressure was enormous. An entire nation expected them to deliver, and they did. France dominated their group. They defeated Paraguay, they survived a brutal battle against Italy, then demolished Croatia in the semifinals, and on July 12, 1998, they faced Brazil, the defending champions, the team of Ronaldo Nazario. Everyone expected Brazil to win, but France destroyed them, 3-0. Zidane scored twice. Emmanuel Petit sealed the victory. France were world champions for the first time ever. The country erupted in celebration. They had built a dynasty, or so everyone thought, because what happened next, nobody saw coming. 4 years later, France arrived in Japan and South Korea as overwhelming favorites. They were world champions, European champions, and many considered them unbeatable. But football doesn't care about reputation. Disaster struck before the tournament even started. Zidane got injured, and suddenly, everything collapsed. Their opening game was against Senegal, a nation making its World Cup debut. Nobody expected an upset. Then Papa Bouba Diop scored. France lost 1-0. The world was stunned. Surely, they would recover. Right? Wrong. They drew 0-0 against Uruguay, then lost 2-0 to Denmark. 3 matches, 0 goals scored, 1 point eliminated in the group stage. It remains one of the greatest title defenses ever to fail. And here's the scary part. France weren't the only victims. Italy suffered it in 1950. Brazil suffered it in 1966. Germany in 2018. There seemed to be a hidden curse surrounding World Cup winners. France had become its most famous victim. The empire had collapsed overnight, but somehow things would get even worse. After 2002, France slowly rebuilt. They reached the 2006 World Cup final. Zidane delivered one final masterpiece until that infamous headbutt. Italy won, and Zidane retired. Then came 2010, and chaos erupted. France wasn't a football team anymore. It was a divided dressing room. Players fought coaches, players fought each other. The nation turned against them. Everything exploded when Nicolas Anelka insulted manager Raymond Domenech. He was sent home. The players then did something unbelievable. They went on strike. At the World Cup, imagine that. The entire squad refused to train. Millions watched in disbelief. France became a global embarrassment. They finished last in their group. Another humiliation, another collapse. The French Football Federation realized something had to change. A complete rebuild was necessary. And fortunately for France, they had a new generation waiting. Then came Didier Deschamps, the captain of 1998, now the manager. He built a new machine. Young, fast, disciplined, and absolutely terrifying. Kylian Mbappé, Antoine Griezmann, Paul Pogba, N'Golo Kanté, Raphael Varane. France possessed perhaps the deepest squad on earth. At the 2018 World Cup, they were unstoppable. Argentina fell, Uruguay fell, Belgium fell, then Croatia. On July 15, 2018, France lifted the World Cup once again. 20 years after their first triumph, The future looked unstoppable. Mbappe was only 19 years old. Everyone assumed this was just the beginning, but football history had a warning. Every time France reaches the top, something strange happens afterward. The curse was waiting. Again. Qatar 2022. France were defending champions, and history was against them. No defending champion had reached back-to-back finals since Brazil in 1998. Injuries hit the squad hard. Karim Benzema, Paul Pogba, N'Golo, Kante, Christopher Nkunku, all unavailable. Many predicted disaster, but France kept winning. They reached the final. Again, waiting for them was Argentina and Lionel Messi. The final became one of the greatest matches ever played. Argentina dominated, France looked dead, 2-0 down. Then Mbappé exploded, 2 goals in 97 seconds. The world couldn't believe it. 3-3 after extra time. Mbappé completed his hat trick, but penalties would decide everything. Argentina won, France were devastated. They had come within inches of doing the impossible. The curse had struck again. Not with humiliation, but with heartbreak. Now, all eyes are on 2026. Mbappé is entering his prime. France still possesses extraordinary talent. Eduardo Camavinga, Aurélien Tchouameni, William Saliba, Michael Olise, and many more so. On paper, they remain one of the strongest nations in world football, but history is watching because every generation of France seems to experience the same cycle. The question isn't whether France is talented enough. They always are. The real question is, can they finally escape their own history, or will football's strangest curse strike once again? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more football stories, rankings, World Cup history, and the greatest moments the beautiful game has ever produced. Until next time, keep the football passion alive, and I'll see you in the next video.